Hello and welcome to India Today Global. I am Pranay Mupadhyay, and today we have with us Group Captain retired R.K. Narang, who's a retired Air Force pilot and also a distinguished defense expert. And besides that, he's also an authority on drone warfare in India. So very welcome to you, Dr. Narang. And my first question to you, because we are having this interview in a very special context, especially in the backdrop of Operation Sindhu, and also from the global battlefields, we are getting news stories and visuals about the drone warfare. So we will try and understand from you that what does it entails, what does it have for India and the future wars as far as the drones are concerned, as far as India's defense preparedness is concerned. So my first question to you, that we have recently seen spectacular drone attack carried out by Ukraine on the Russian territory. Also, we have seen extensive use of drone warfare in India-Pakistan conflict. So this was a first instance of a regional conflict where drones were extensively being used. How do you see the drone warfare's evolution? Also, in the context of India-Pakistan conflict, where do you see it going?
See, Pranay, what you have said, drones have evolved and they have come into being so far. Let's go back prior to India-Pakistan, drone engagement in Operation Sindhu. If you go back, drones always had an upper hand, including if you look at what happened after the Operation Sindhu when Ukrainian drones, destroyed the Russian assets. Drones demonstrated that they have a advantage over conventional, strike mechanisms. And what India proved during the, Operation Sindhu was that we had gone out of the way to prepare ourselves not only for offense as well as for defense. If you look at how we used drones, we used it. First of all, we were able to neutralize the drone strikes done by Pakistan en masse. Hundreds of drones attacking from north to south had to be neutralized. And India has been preparing for these drone capabilities from 2018 when it launched Innovation for Defense Excellence initiative by the Defense Innovation Organization of the Ministry of Defense and Meher Baba Swarm competition of the Indian Air Force. So I think these two initiatives have really given us capabilities. But I would also here add a caution that it is not a time to be complacent, because what we saw is just a trailer. Remember, in future, it could be much larger, much intense, and much deeper. So there is a much more
widespread threat.
And before we really come into comfort zone. And five points which emerge, which are the typical observation of this war are: first, air power can be used in less than war scenario, which was considered escalatory in the past. Secondly, we have to realize what is the approach of the Pakistan. Pakistan does not want a conventional war in the real sense. It would prefer, I'm saying preference, it doesn't mean it will not fight. Its preference will be low cost options like missiles, drones, artillery, terrorists, and propaganda. If you've seen this war, propaganda played a major role in creating confusion, in creating a perception in the Western media, which also has to be factored in by us in future. And it used all kinds of drone it could get from its own sources, from its friends, especially China and Italy came, their drones came into play during this period. And another thing which came into play is our indigenous drone, counter drone systems and missiles. Now, this is the third point. Our indigenous systems really provided value for money. If we had to use S-400 for all these, we would have depleted our defense. I think Pakistan was trying to draw out our high-value air defense measures, and India wisely used its indigenous system, and we were able to neutralize Pakistan's thing. And fourth point, which I want to highlight, is I think it is given Indian ministry, users, finance, and other stakeholders an opportunity to analyze the challenges. I think we must fine-tune policies, structures, mechanisms for stimulating indigenous research, innovation, and we should resort to spiral development. Now, here, what do we mean by spiral development? The technologies which we have developed so far, they need to be further developed. Normally, investment in R&D is your project is completed, thereafter no funding is there. Now, that is not the way technology works. Once you have reached a certain level, you may have to do further development. And I think spiral development is a lesson we must take it. And also the procurement of indigenous innovative systems. I think this will be a certainly reminder to us that let's understand the requirement of technology trajectory, which is not a
You made
unique.
a very important point, Group Captain Narang here, that spiral development is the key here. We have seen in India-Pakistan conflict that Pakistan is heavily being armed by Turkey, by China, as far as the drone technology is concerned, as far as the electronic warfare is concerned. If we compare India's preparedness and India's indigenous capabilities are concerned, where do you rank and where do you see there is a scope and push required to have, like required capabilities?
Okay, first thing, what we were able to achieve, and I'll say what we require. I think very important point. What we must understand is our indigenous system. Remember, recently we had upgraded our L-70 air defense guns,
Yes.
and I think that proved useful. Similarly, I think some of our counter-swarm rockets were being developed. They came into handy. Similarly, we had developed some counter-drone systems by the DRDO. Our private sector, the IDEX winners, also gave us some solutions, and some of the Indian private companies gave some counter-drone solutions. But remember, now you said where we need to do more. I think one part which clearly stood out was we did not have a civil unmanned traffic management system. Now, you must understand what it means. It means if our civil drone is flying, and if we have to identify, we should be able to identify it is friend and foe in real time without having to physically check it. Now, that kind of technologies are available in the world and they are available in India. We had to just implement it. Certain technologies had to be validated, which has to be done by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Now, understand if a drone is coming from Pakistan and we cannot identify whether it's indigenous or a foreign, because our drones also do various activities.
Yes.
It can take the advantage of confusion to get into Indian airspace. So we need to have a civil unmanned traffic management system. Similarly, we also need a military UTM, unmanned traffic management system. Why we need a military UTM is, let's say our drone is there. We don't want everybody to know its position, but at the same time, we want to know its position. And we should be able to identify it. And during wartime, let's say civil drones are not operating, but can we identify our drone vis-a-vis other drones? We should not be shooting our drone ourselves. So that's the second point, is military UTM.
Okay.
Third part, I think, is we need to develop a counter-swarm low-cost capability. Now, what you understand by counter-swarm low-cost capabilities, see, remember, when swarms of drone came, if we used missiles for that matter, it will have a very high cost implications for India.